conversation with somebody that a well-known scale, which had 3 types of commitment to the organization. I think it was affective and continuance and something else commitment.
Okay.
One of the scales had a comparatively low level of internal reliability, a low Cronbach alpha. So their reviewer said, oh no, we can't use this scale. Its reliability is too small, too low. So I said, well, why don't we just go in saying it's ordinal level data, which it is, and do a non-parametric test. And they're going, oh no, we can't, because it doesn't meet the criteria of 0.7. Well, we have a way around that. Let's just build it in to start with. But they don't seem to see beyond, here's the checklist and here's the steps.
Interesting.
And I don't know what the answer to that one is.
So let me ask a question. If you have an instrument, and it's made up of 3-4 subconstructs.
Yes.
And the overall instrument is valid and reliable, but the questions for one of the subconstructs don't necessarily meet the threshold that your school is looking for. You can still use the overall instrument and maybe not that particular subconstruct, right?
I would think so.
Okay, so like, go ahead.
I mean, if the overall scale is valid and reliable, that means the individual subscales are valid.
Right.
And if one is a bit low, you can either use non-parametric statistics like, Spearman correlations or something, or just do the 2 that are considered to be, reliable.
Okay, so let me think this through.
Okay.
So for my study, or let me talk it out. For my study, I looked at differences in work engagement, right? And there's 3 subconstructs for work engagement: absorption, dedication, and of course, I'm going to forget the third one.
It's only your dissertation.
I should know this. So if I wanted to do, I could do 4 research questions, right? So the differences in overall work engagement, the differences in absorption, the differences in commitment, and the differences in dedication. And let's say this scale, for each of those, the validity and reliability is good, except for maybe dedication is lower than the threshold. So then in my chapter 3, what I would describe is that because of that concern with the validity and reliability for that specific subconstruct, I would choose to do non-parametric and explain my plan and why in chapter 3. And then that would set me up for results in chapter 4, right?
That works for me. I mean, my general approach to research, as long as you're telling people exactly what you're doing, it's not like you're being sneaky or naughty or something.
Right.
But there's some reviewers who, I mean, I don't want to sound like an elitist here, but they know enough to review something because they've memorized the checklist in the textbook.
Yeah.
But they don't understand, oh, in this case, you do this. In this case, you do this. They don't really understand. They might not even be able to run it in SPSS, but they know that in this situation, you do this.
That's interesting. I would think you would be okay with doing that if you're going to, 1, describe your plan. This is what we're going to do. And then you give your rationale. And then potentially you go and look in the existing research to see if somebody's done it before with that instrument, that particular subconstruct, and what their results look like. Because if you can provide that rationale and justify your approach, a lot of times I would like to think that your methodologist and your peer reviewer are going to say, okay, you've provided enough reasoning to show that you know what you're talking about, or at least that's how I would approach it.
Yeah, I think that's very reasonable. I'm working with one person. She is currently on her 5th dissertation chair and her 6th methodologist. And we're going through this, and the new methodologist says, oh, we need to do all these things. Well, that methodologist was, they added literally 30 figures.
Wow.
And that methodologist isn't around anymore. So we got somebody else who's got different ideas. And all the while, her results are, her results are literally just two correlations. And they were significant both with Pearson and Spearman, and she's been going through rewrite purgatory for a year and a half.
Ouch.
Yeah. So,
Ouch.
but I, as a general rule, I think as long as you're saying what it is, I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
And we can thank our lucky stars and the good Lord above. We're using a word processor, so it's easy to change things.
Yes. Yes, I have great respect for anybody who typed a dissertation back in the day.
Back in the day, yep. My first master's was done on an IBM Selector typewriter. So, yep.
Yeah, I did a 30-page educational philosophy paper on one of those original like the early digital typewriters that had like 3 lines of text, and then it printed out on dot matrix paper, and took 2 hours to print it out, and the whole time I was hoping that it wouldn't crash and like take away all my work. Oh, what a world we live in.